Welcome to Lesson 28, macOS Basics, where we make Mac tickets stop being scary. Now, macOS only runs on about 15% of desktops globally, but here's the catch. That 15% is where the designers, the developers, the marketing leads, and the executives live. A help desk tech who can confidently handle a Mac is rare, and rare means valued. Over the next 4 pieces, we'll crack open APFS and the file system, get familiar with Launched, walk through system settings and the admin GUI tools, and finish with real terminal basics. Let's start with the file system, because this is where Windows habits will trip you up fastest. Forget C drive, D drive. On a Mac, everything hangs off a single root, just a / Unix style. Underneath that, you've got APFs, the Apple file system that replaced HFS plates back in 2017, built for SSDs, with snapshots, file vault encryption, and atomic writes so the disk doesn't corrupt mid-save. Now here's the part that catches techs off guard. Since Catalina/system is read-only on assigned volume, even root can't touch it. So when you see operation not permitted, that's SIP, System Integrity Protection, doing its job, not a bug. And finally, Time Machine, hourly snapshots to an external drive. When a user says, "My document is gone," that's your first stop. Now, once that file system is up, something has to actually run all the services on top of it, and that's Launched. Think of it as Windows services and task scheduler fused into one program. The kernel boots, starts Launched as PID1, and from there, LaunchD spawns everything else on the machine. 2 flavors to remember. Daemons are system-wide, running even with nobody logged in, printer service, Bluetooth, while agents are per user, things like Spotlight indexing or Dropbox sync that die when you log out. All of it is configured through XML plist files in /library/launchdaemons or launch agents, and you control them with launchctl, list, load, unload, and the helpdesk lifesaver, kickstart, to restart a stuck Apple service without rebooting the whole Mac. Above Launched sits the layer you'll actually touch every day. 6 admin tools, all orbiting that XNew kernel in the middle. Memorize this map, because every Mac ticket you'll ever close lives in one of these 6. Activity Monitor for runaway processes, system settings for preferences, system information for hardware specs, and serial numbers. On the right, Console for logs and crash reports, Disk Utility for volumes and first aid, and Terminal when you need real Unix power, sudo, scripting, brew, and the shortcut that ties it all together, Command space open Spotlight. Type the tool name, hit return. That's Mac power user move number 1. Now let's zoom into 4 of those tools you'll use constantly. System settings is your control panel, Apple menu, then system settings, and use that search bar at the top because the categories got reshuffled in Ventura. Activity Monitor is your task manager. Watch for memory pressure going yellow or red. That's your upgrade signal. Disk Utility handles drives. When a disk acts weird, run first aid first, always, and Console is the gold one. When a user says this app keeps crashing, open Console, search the app name, and the exact error is sitting right there. Now here's where macOS stops being a pretty toy and becomes a real career edge. Open Terminal, and you're sitting in a genuine Unix shell, ZSH by default since Catalina, with the same commands a Linux admin uses. Learn the basics, ls, cd, pwd, cat, plus the Mac. Special open to pop the current folder in Finder. Sudo gets you admin rights for things like sudo kill, Finder when the dock freezes, or flushing DNS cache when a site won't resolve. And Homebrew, install it from brew.ch, turns Terminal into an app store, so brew install git and you're done. Knowing this stuff is what separates Mac users from Mac power users. All right, let's put it all together with 4 real tickets you'll absolutely see. Slow Mac with screaming fans, Activity Monitor, CPU tab, sort by CPU percent, usually it's Spotlight reindexing or a runaway browser tab, and the memory tab's pressure gauge tells you if RAM is the real bottleneck. App crashing on launch, open Console, filter, crash reports by app name, And 9 times out of 10, deleting that app's list in Support Library Preferences fixes it. Wi-Fi dropping. Renew DHCP lease first, forget and rejoin second, and if it's still flaky, drop into terminal and flush the DNS cache with dscachudel. And the factory reset request. On Apple Silicon, it's a built-in 3-minute job under transfer or reset. On older Intel Macs, you're booting to recovery with Command R. 4 tickets, 4 tools. That's the whole game. Now, before you walk into your first Mac ticket, lock these 12 terms into memory. APFS is the modern file system. XNU is the kernel, launched as your service manager running as PID1. SIP keeps the system folder read-only. File Vault handles disk encryption. Spotlight is search. Time Machine is backup. Apple Silicon means M-series chips. Rosetta translates old Intel apps to ARM. Gatekeeper blocks unsigned software. Homebrew installs, command line tools, and a list is just an XML config file. Screenshot this slide. It's your cheat sheet for every Mac ticket from here on out. Now let's bust the myths that'll waste your time on the job. Macs absolutely get malware. Silver Sparrow, XC etc. Mac Stealer are real, so keep malware bites in your toolkit. They need maintenance too. Disk utility. First aid, brew cleanup, time machine. The shortcuts aren't weird. Just CMD instead of Control. M-series. Macs run Windows software through Parallels plus Rosetta 2. And yes, you absolutely manage them in Enterprise, Jamf, Mosel, Kanji, Apple Business Manager. Fortune 500 shops are often half Mac. Knowing this is your edge in 2026. And that's macOS locked in. Remember this if nothing else. CMD plus a space opens Spotlight, and Spotlight launches everything. Apps, files, calculations, settings. Master that one shortcut and you'll look 10 times faster on any Mac ticket. You've got APFS, LaunchD, Activity Monitor, Terminal, and Brew in your toolkit now. Next up, Lesson 29, Linux, the server king that runs 95% of the web. 5 OS lessons and a capstone left in Stage 4. Let's keep moving.